has a better unbeaten run right now than Celtic. They're looking to maintain that. They're looking to establish themselves back 9 points clear at the top of the table. For United, it's about breaking free from what is currently a four-way tie at the bottom of the table. Big atmosphere inside the stadium. The teams are out. We're about to get up and running. It is live commentary here on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland. Dundee United against Celtic with Pat Bonner, Craig Levein and Paul Mitchell.
Thank you, Richard. Good afternoon, everybody. Ange Postecoglou is 1 win away from 50 wins in the Scottish Premiership as Celtic boss. All in all, he's played 92 matches in charge of Celtic. In terms of the league, he's won 49 out of 60, drawn 4, lost just 7. Martin O'Neill won 50 games and 59 in the Scottish Premiership. Brendan Rodgers took 61, the same number Ange Postecoglou is on today. And we will see if he gets that. For Dundee United, well, the team that's put 9 past you and 4 past you already this season. There'll be a certain amount of trepidation. That 9-0 game back on August the 28th. Jack Ross sacked 2 days later. And if we want to talk about managers not getting long, 7 games Jack Ross had in charge here at Tannadice. Celtic break off to the right-hand side into their huddle. What a memorable day this is for Callum McGregor. Made his debut against KR of Reykjavik in 2014. He scored the only goal. And now here on the 29th of January 2023, it's appearance number 400 for Celtic's number 42, a little older and wiser, aged 29. Dundee United looking to get us underway. The tangerine jerseys, the black shorts, the tangerine socks, they'll move from left to right. Celtic in traditional green and white hoops. And we shall see now Don Robertson takes charge of this one. The 35-year-old was in charge at the Scottish Cup last weekend. Ball is played back and we are underway, back towards Edwards. Fletcher with a header inside. Starfelt stretches, gets it away. Hattati tried the flick on, back out wide onto Fletcher, wins the header. Ian Harkes with him. Harkes clips it over the head of McGregor, and it's knocked away by Celtic, and it's picked up by Jota onto Hattati. And Johnson comes forward. Now here's Jota trying to move away from Sybil. He's away through the centre circle. It's a great ball through onto Kyogo. Kyogo lifts the shot under a little bit of pressure, up and over the top. Well, he likes a goal against Dundee United. There's Kyogo, and he was off there again. Well, from deep in their own half, Celtic just won the ball back and then sliced Dundee United.
Yeah, three passes, and Kyogo, it sliced off his foot. Actually, he didn't make good contact with the final execution, and that sort of saved Dundee United. But what a good move, quick move, incisive move from Celtic.
So the goalkeeper Mark Birighetti gets ready to play this one away, and he does so over the halfway line. Carter Vickers looks for it. Well, felt it was being held there. Glenn Middleton, play on, says the referee. And Johnson takes it away for Celtic on that far side. Abada outside the box, right hand side, pulls it back onto Johnson, inside onto Callum McGregor, left foot little pass through. Hattati is there at the edge of the area, pulls the ball back onto Johnson. Abada takes a touch by the byline, low cross in, stepped high there by Ryan Edwards. He's going to take a bounce, not going out of play. Bates tries to challenge for it, ball out of play. It's going to be a throw into Dundee United on that far side. And Craig, it's going to be important for Dundee United just to settle themselves at the back early, but that would have been a slightly unsettling moment for them.
Yeah, I think Liam's heart would have been in his mouth there. You don't want to go down behind so early to Celtic, especially when they've got their tails up. So the longer they can stay in the game and it stays at 0-0, the happier Liam will be.
Fletcher tries to play it forward towards Middleton. Starfelt will gather inside his own half, comes out wide onto Greg Taylor, missed the last 4. No significant calf injury. Ball gets played back inside, and it's with Hattati. Hattati plays the ball back inside his own half onto Carl Starfelt. Starfelt to Cameron Carter Vickers, back in the side today once more. Dropped it short, gets it back once more. And Celtic playing with the ball just over the halfway line. Greg Taylor tries to get it inside the for Kyogo. Kyogo got inside Edwards. Better get you to race from his line, Pat Bonner, to make sure he gathered that.
Well, he had come off his line initially, and he then hesitated a little bit because he knew he wasn't getting him, but the ball actually ran through him because Kyogo missed his control, and he was in a good place to pick it up. But yeah, Celtic trying to penetrate in behind that back three early on in this game. That's twice now that they've got in, and Kyogo, he plays on your shoulder, he plays in between people, and he's always looking, and then it's about the pass, and the pass, and those two occasions were very, very good cricket.
Yeah, it was. And also, I don't know what you think, Pav. It looks like a 5-3-2 for Dundee United. Middleton's playing just off of Fletcher, and again, I think he'll be trying to use his pace to get in behind.
Yes, Spirighetti in goal. It's Smith, Edwards, McMahon in the middle, Freeman and BH either side of him. Hark, Sibbald and Levitt, and Middleton trying to support Fletcher. Celtic have a free kick. Adam Moy will get ready to take it from this left-hand side. Close to the touchline, just being waved by a little bit further back. Dylan Levitt. It's the shortest line I've ever seen drawn by a referee. It's actually pointing north-south rather than east-west. Not sure where the player's supposed to stand behind that. He'd be squint. Adam Moy gets ready to deliver. Jota was in an offside position as the ball comes in. Fletcher with a header away, back towards Adam Moy. It's going to be gathered and played by Dundee United up to the halfway line, knocked back in and away by Middleton, and out of play. Early pressure, no great surprise, Pat, the early pressure coming the way of Celtic.
Yeah, I think Dundee United started off exactly. I think most teams start off played along into on top of Greg Taylor, where Fletcher had sort of peeled off, and I think he won the first 2-3 headers. But as soon as Celtic then sort of won the ball, they were so quick and accurate in their passing to exploit that sort of kind of press from Dundee United. And now Dundee United sort of is hanging on because Celtic have got all the possession.
Abada to Moy, works it back to Abada, edge of the area, knocked away by Dundee United. Carter Vickers has all day to bring the ball under control. No goal so far. Nearly 5 minutes gone. Ball out to Jota. Jota trying to take on Freeman. Does so. He's into the area, trying to get the low cross. In fact, he lifted it up. Just got too much on it. Behich on the other side. Happy to see that go over. I thought for a moment there, Craig, that he might just drive that low.
Yeah, I think he was trying to pick out somebody at the back post, but just didn't quite catch it correctly. Yeah, I'm looking at this Dundee United set up, the 5, the 3, and trying to leave the 2 up the field. The key to this is they'll be under a lot of pressure, but when they do win the ball back, they've got to find a secure pass to Fletcher. That for me is the key, and if they can do that, then he can maybe hold the ball in and bring Middleton into play, who can run in behind using his pace.
Middleton trying to battle for the ball on that far side. It's going to run out of play. It's a throw into Celtic. Celtic of Joe Hart in goal, the back four of Johnson, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor, Moy, McGregor, Hitati, the midfield 3, Abada, Kyogo and Jota. Carl Starfelt wears 4, passes the ball inside onto Cameron Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers takes a touch, plays it back onto Starfelt. That's been the first choice in half pairing for a long time for Celtic. Now the ball is gathered by Hitati. Hitati out wide, got away from Harks. Good defending though by Liam Smith to drill the ball back inside the Celtic half. Starfelt gets a shout from Joe Hart, and the ball comes out wide onto Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers up to Alistair Johnson. Back to Carter Vickers, and he'll play it out onto this near side onto Starfelt. And the United not pressing. Now they will try through Fletcher, forces Starfelt back onto Joe Hart. Joe Hart opens up the palms of his gloves, says somebody's got to move. McGregor did so, plays it back to Joe Hart. He's well out of his goal, by the way. Now the ball sent long on the angle, looking for Jota. Jota takes it ahead of Freeman, moves the ball inside onto McGregor, gets the pass onto Greg Taylor inside the Dundee United half. Nice play from Celtic, good touch of the ball back inside onto McGregor. No goals so far. McGregor takes a touch, lays it back onto Starfelt. Starfelt back across onto Carter Vickers, right hand side inside his opponent's half, plays it out wide. Opportunity just to jab the ball back inside from Abada. Come on to this near side. Celtic just happy to ping the ball side to side, look to see how they can get past this Tangerine wall at the moment. And it's played in. Smith takes a touch, gets the ball away. And it's one of these ones, Pat, that they're not finding anybody when they're trying to get the ball away.
No, listen, they had the 2 targets up front, but they are put under pressure so quickly that they have to almost pass it away and almost kick it away into a space rather than find somebody, as Craig was saying.
Yeah, do you think that Fletcher should be on the side of the ball at all times, though?
It's not easy to do that.
Yeah,
though.
no, I know, but he's got to try and get across. So if they do win the ball, at least it's a straightforward pass up to him.
Well, and if it's not him, then Middleton's got to make that run down the side of the centre halves. The other thing I was going to say is a real task for the three midfielders. You've got Craig Sybil sitting in the middle, you've got Harks on one side and Levitt on the other, and they've got to deal with the fullbacks who are stepping in there, and they also have to try and help their wing back at times maybe to get across and double up on. And Celtic have got
a lot of choices to be made, you know, and that's the difficulty. That's what Celtic do to you. You have to make a decision almost every 5 seconds. Who do I go to? Who do I shut down? Who do I stay off?
Yeah,
you know?
and just on that point, you've got Tati and almost Moy pushing right up, almost in line with the two wingers, and you've got a centre forward who's kind of peeling off your shoulders. Centre half, does a centre half step out there and deal with the midfielder, or does he stay in his position? Big questions.
McGregor with the error, knocked the ball down off his chest, robbed by Levitt. Now it comes on to Middleton. There's Kieran Freeman outside him, level of the penalty area, whips the ball into the middle. Joe Hart watches it, takes a touch, holds the ball in his right hand, races up to the edge of the area, and then stops. Quite happy to wait, and he'll bowl the ball out onto this near side. No away team scored in the Scottish Premiership yesterday, no away team scored in the match earlier on today. Livingston and Hearts 0-0. 12 goals in the Scottish Premiership this weekend, all from the boot of the head of the home side. Dundee United would like that to continue.
And that would be a big stat today if they were able to stop Celtic from scoring in the way that they've been playing. No question about it.
Set long by Dundee United up to the halfway line. Carter Vickers waits, opens up his body, plays it forward. Tati is there. McGregor brings the ball down. Johnson inside his own half. Now back onto Carl Starfelt. Celtic rack up the pass count onto Carter Vickers. It goes, coming over the halfway line. Looks ahead. Adam Moy is there, but he's going to jam it out onto this near side. And Greg Taylor comes off his head. It's a little bit too high. It's going to be a throw into Dundee United. Celtic giving away possession under no pressure.
No, and there is huge space out in the wide areas. You know, the wing backs have got to deal with the two wingers who have, staying very wide and are going to be high up the pitch. And I don't know whether they need to go into midfield, the full backs from Celtic. They can pop out there and find the ball at will.
Smith coming forward for Dundee United, then stands on the ball.
That wasn't a free kick, Paul.
No. Certainly not for the foul on Smith. That was never, but the referee's indicating that there was a pull or a handball. That was a mysterious one, because certainly the challenge on Smith.
On the ball, didn't he?
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely, but what it does, it gives Dundee United an opportunity to put the ball into a good area. What we're talking about, 40-50 yards out on the angle, and between the goalkeeper and the centre halves.
Celtic have 7 players in a row. The ball played into the area, it drops down and somehow gets all the way through onto Joe Hart. Stephen Fletcher not a million miles away from gathering. It remains 0-0, playing nearly 11 minutes here at Tannadice. Ball thrown out by Hart onto Greg Taylor. Taylor has jotted down the side, but it's going to be intercepted, and this should be taken away by Dundee United. It's long on the angle, looking for Fletcher. Wasn't the best ball in the world, and it's going to be gathered by McGregor.
It wasn't a good ball, but it was a really good run.
It was a good idea,
and just peeling off Carter Vickers' shoulder where Johnson had pushed right into midfield and the space was there.
Ball gets played out wide onto Johnson. Johnson tries to send it long for Leila Bada. Just goes behind, too much pace in it. And Mark Birighetti, the Aussie, Australian J-League's goalkeeper of the year the last 2 seasons. After coming to Dundee United, was in the full international squad under Ange Postecoglou, but wasn't capped under him. Brings the ball to the almost centre of his goal and gets ready to play it away. People are tilting down this right-hand side. Birighetti steps back. Celtic flags waving behind him as he steps up. Drills the ball pretty low. Bayich gets the header over the halfway line. Comes off the head of Jota, goes backwards. Fletcher does well, clamps himself into Starfelt, wins the ball and plays it out wide onto Freeman. Freeman tries to pass it down the line. No way through for Kieran Freeman that time.
That's what Fletcher does for Dundee United. He brings this calmness, and he's actually telling other players as well, look, just calm down. And when you're under this sort of pressure, Pat, it's really difficult to have a calm head, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, especially if you're putting under pressure all the time with 2-3 bodies around you.
Celtic have it. Moy from McGregor. Back out wide onto Johnson. That's short onto Callum McGregor. Celtic have all sorts of space on this left side. Starfelt plays it forward. Greg Taylor. Jota just out wide. His little back heel back onto Taylor. Freeman and Smith coming in. Ball out of play. It's going to be a throw into Celtic. Almost level with the penalty area. Left hand side. Thrown into Aaron Moy on the score sheet last week against Morton in the Scottish Cup. Forward it comes with Fletcher, gets on to Middleton. Middleton against Carter Vickers. He's going to try and race him here. Carter Vickers does well, shields him just outside the area. Middleton picks up, plays a beautiful ball out wide onto Behich. Fletcher wants it played into the middle. It's going to be too strong. Well, he didn't waste it, Middleton. He found the pass. He got the opportunity then, Behich, to play it in. Overhit goes behind, goal kick.
Yeah, it was interesting because I think he might have had the pace of Carter Vickers there if he'd knocked the ball a little bit longer. But it was a good switch of play, and Behich has got to put. They're not going to get many opportunities like that to put crosses in the box in dangerous areas, and he's just overhit it and made it easy for the goalkeeper to pick it up.
There's very few teams. I know Dundee United are at home today, which is the right thing to do, but to play two up front, take a chance, take a risk, and that time the two of them combine really, really well.
Here's Freeman. Dundee United getting a little boost from that last attack. Into the middle it goes. Knocked clear by Starfelt. Comes to Hatate, edge of his area. And Moy all sorts of time to turn and spin and play the ball forward to Johnson, but he showed too much of it to Behich. Then the Canadian on the Australian pulled him back.
Yeah, I think it's a booking. It should have been probably a booking too, because he had bad touch and he got himself in all sorts of problems. The only thing he could do was to pull him back to stop him, and I think he was gone and down that left-hand side. So I do think that it should have been a booking probably.
I'll tell you what's interesting, Paul, is the amount of contact that Dundee United are making with the Celtic players. They're leaving one on them every opportunity they get. And I've been at previous games with Dundee United and Celtic here. They've not laid a glove on them. And I think the attitude of the players has been fantastic so far.
Free kick into the area, headed across by Edwards. Celtic managed to get it clear, but it drops once more. Fletcher gets the header up just over the top, lands on the top of the net. Scott McMahon was up, he got the header across after Edwards onto Fletcher, but he couldn't direct it down on target. 0-0.
I do think that's going to be a bit of a weapon for them today if they can get good ball into the box with Fletcher, with Edwards, with McMahon. They have that height over Celtic, and very difficult to deal with Fletcher. You could see him there using his body strength, holding off. I think it might have been Johnson, and just then almost trying to get that header on target, just couldn't get enough on it to keep it down. But certainly he's a real threat.
0-0 here between Celtic, visitors to Tannadice, the host Dundee United, in a match that back in August finished 9-0 to Celtic. Dundee United, well, they conceded to Kilgar after 15 minutes, and he completed his hat-trick in the first half. Labada with a second half hat-trick. Starfelt, Juranovic, Jota all on the score sheet that day. Now the ball gets moved forward on that far side. Bada turns around. Moy looked offside, but he's been given on. Drives the ball right across. Freeman gets his head out the way. Didn't want to get a touch on that, and the ball comes all the way through to the other side. Throw in to Dundee United.
I think Jota and Hatate were both on their heels there. I mean, if they'd gone 2 yards forward, that ball's there to be put into the back of the net, but they were just caught static. But I mean, the ball did come across the face of the goal at some rate.
Yeah, and what Celtic did really well there is exploited the wide area. And this time it was a midfielder popping out there in Moy, nobody near him, and he was able then to link up with Abada, and eventually he got on the end of getting himself in a good position to get a good cross in, a decent cross in.
Brian McLaughlin is our pitch side reporter this afternoon, indicating to us that was onside. Starfelt picks the ball up, plays it inside onto Carter Vickers. Alistair Johnson makes himself available, the man from Vancouver. Back to Cameron Carter Vickers, slightly further over the border, and it's played back across. Johnson out wide onto Abada, hugging the touchline, right hand side, being closed down by Dylan Levitt. Throw in as Levitt knocks the ball out of play. 13 yards from the corner flag on that far side as we watch the top of the press box in the main stand here at Tannadice. Celtic just gently bring the ball back to the halfway line. Carter Vickers back inside onto Starfelt. takes the touch, back inside onto Carter Vickers, yet to score this season, 4 goals in his first season with Celtic. Plays it forward onto Johnson. Johnson sees it deflected away, back up towards Middleton. Middleton holds on, gets the ball into Levitt. Levitt was delighted to see Sibbald was in behind him. That's where it was played. Nowhere for McMahon to go apart from his goalkeeper. He's going to get closed down quickly by Kyogo. Absolutely lightning, just lashed out at the edge of the 6-yard box, nearly blocked that there. Terrific effort from the Japanese.
I'll tell you what, he didn't do anything wrong either. But again, the only thing I could say to him was come away from the player who's going to pass, but give yourself a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Just even a second would have been. But as soon as he took a touch on the ball, he closed him down so quickly. Kyogo is unbelievable, and he's got that. And that's the difference, makes him different than all the other strikers in Scotland for sure.
And he nearly got the goal. 4-4 against Dundee United for Kyogo. And now just passing the ball around comes Celtic up at the edge of the area. Taylor out wide onto Jota. Jota up against Freeman. Freeman shows him on the inside. Jota lifts the ball into the middle, headed away by McMahon, taken down by Johnson, moves away from Levitt. Behich is on that far side. Johnson needs some help. He's being forced back, and he'll play it back all the way over the halfway line onto Carter Vickers. 0-0 so far. They weren't with us earlier. Livingston and Hearts, that finished 0-0 as well as Levitt flicks the ball out of play. Celtic with the pressure here, unbeaten in the last 18 against Dundee United, including 14 in the Scottish Premiership. Dundee United's net total of points in those 14 Scottish Premiership games totals 3. Ball gets played out wide onto Jota, just outside the box, left hand side, looks to play the ball in, and Barighetti comes into his 6-yard box, grabs it, and just like Joe Hart at the other end, holds onto it with one hand before he bowls the ball out onto Behich on that far side, up against Alistair Johnson. Both these players at the World Cup and a little bit of success in terms of their personal tallies. The ball is out of play on the halfway line. Remains 0-0, Pat Bonner.
Yeah, it's better goalkeeping there from Barighetti. He picked up a really good position, three yards off, middle of the goal, was able to come, get it, and then try to set up the attack. I think Behich was looking for him to maybe do it a little bit quicker, get the throw away, because he had made a good run down that sort of left-hand side.
Edwards sends it back to his goalkeeper, who launches it long, launches it out of play. And Greg Taylor gets the ball down onto Carl Starfelt. Starfelt, ball inside to Carter Vickers. Meeting no resistance, so he's up to the halfway line, plays it on to Greg Taylor, back again to Starfelt. And the United happy to let Celtic play inside their own half. Taylor back to Starfelt. Starfelt back to Stockholm, onto Hitati, closed down by Freeman. And sends it down the side. Smith hoping that had enough to go out of play. It didn't. He was to touch it out of play himself for the throw. He was trying to see if it would go for the goal kick. Celtic take the throw into Jota. All the way back to Starfelt. Starfelt midway inside his opponent's half. Left hand side. Back out wide onto Greg Taylor. Taylor short. Inside onto McGregor. Appearance number 400. Now the ball down the left hand side for Taylor. Taylor throws the ball back onto Hitati. Hitati immediately wants it back, flicks it to the halfway line. Carter Vickers opens up, plays it left-footed out wide onto Johnson. Abad has hugged that touchline all afternoon. He continues now to gather the ball, play it inside onto Adam Moy. Moy, back it comes to Johnson. Celtic being forced back on that right-hand side. Callum McGregor, centre circle it comes once more for Starfelt. Dundee United can't get a touch at the moment. Here's Taylor.
But what they're doing well is that they're working as a unit, just stopping Celtic. They're working really good distances, and Celtic aren't able to penetrate them just now, so they're forcing them to play side to side and backwards.
Here's Starfelt moving forward down the left hand side, out wide to the touchline onto Jota. Jota round the corner onto Hitati. Hitati outside the box, faced by Freeman, plays the ball back to Jota. It's a brilliant first time ball in, and headed away by Scott McMahon, taken down by Jota, gets the shot away, good save by the goalkeeper, and then Edwards looked like he clashed with Kyogo. Kyogo's holding his face, Edwards stayed up, but he does get the decision. Good goalkeeping from Mark Barighetti.
It was good goalkeeping. He almost was taken by surprise. He was right on his line when that shot came in from Jota, but it was a first time ball in, and then he kept going. That was the thing about Jota, he didn't stop, and he found the ball came back into his area, able to control it, volley and get that shot away really quickly. So it was a decent save at the end up.
Yeah, and I think Dundee United will be happy, Pat, with the fact that they're making Celtic cross the ball, because they do have that height advantage in the middle of the penalty box. It's much more dangerous for me if Celtic manage to make runs in behind the Dundee United defence, but the distance between their lines is really good, and so far they haven't really been penetrated other than the first minute or so.
Fletcher won the header long from his goalkeeper, but Aaron Moy was first to pick up. Celtic have it on the halfway line. Johnson plays it inside onto Callum McGregor. McGregor back onto Johnson. Levitt working hard, so too Craig Sibbald. Not seen a lot of the ball, Craig Sibbald, but he's covered a heck of a lot of ground so far. Out wide come Celtic. Taylor drops it off onto Jota, up against Freeman. Jota sends a long angle ball. BH gets the header away. Levitt then had to try and challenge with Johnson to win it. Went into the Dundee United box, and Dundee United gathered. BH plays it down the side. Middleton goes after it, but Carter Vickers plays the ball back inside, and Joe Hart inside his area jabs it away, but it's going to be picked up by Dundee United. Dylan Levitt is there, but he loses out. Good solid tackle by McGregor. Ball comes out wide. Aaron Moy onto Abada. Abada and that touchline are wedded today as the ball comes back inside onto McGregor. McGregor pulls it across onto Greg Taylor, opens up right foot, plays it into the area. Jota is there, cuts inside, curls it in, just wide. It's another good move from Celtic, but it remains 0-0.
Yeah, and for me at this moment, Jota looks the most likely source of Celtic's first goal. I think he's given Freeman quite a difficult time. Every time he gets the ball, he wants to take him on, inside, outside, some tricks, and just in general, I think he provides something a little bit different for Celtic when he gets on the ball.
So the opportunity for Dundee United to clear. It is 0-0. Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland. The last of our commentary matches this weekend. As the ball gets played forward, Middleton links up with Fletcher. Fletcher gets the touch back out wide to Glenn Middleton. Middleton's going to try and take on Johnson. He then tries to jump on his back. The referee allows play to continue. Johnson's forcing the ball all the way back to the line, and the referee basically says that's a throw. Looked like a foul to me.
It did look like a foul to me too. Johnson got on between him and the ball. Read the situation really well to defend it, and he kind of looked as if he was pulling or leaning on his shoulder and pulling him back.
Celtic have the ball. They move it forward through Taylor. Taylor back inside to Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers to Taylor, centre circle, flicks the ball back. The Scotland internationalists, the American internationalists, the Canadian internationalists. And the Swedish internationalist waits for it here. Opportunity to play it forward. Again, Dundee United quite happy to scuttle back inside their own half for Celtic to play it from there. Ball out wide onto Aaron Moy. Moy into the middle, Keogh left at Hatate, takes the touch, shoots just wide on his 50th appearance for Celtic. He nearly found the opening goal, shuffled the ball out of his feet and shot just wide.
Real Japanese communication there, wasn't there, between the two? A step over, and then he just took it open up on his left hand side, and I don't think he got the curl on it that he wanted, but he hit it with pace, and when it's hard to tell from here because we're at the wrong angle, but I would say it wasn't that far wide, Craig.
No, it was close. I mean, the goalkeeper was concerned. That tells you something, doesn't it?
Terrific play, great movement. Celtic just playing with that little bit of urgency at times. Now the ball gets played through. Fletcher's going to be against Hart. Hart comes from his goal, knocks the ball away over the halfway line. Levitt onto Freeman. Freeman onto Harks. Harks has to play the ball back though onto Smith. Dundee United gather. Hatate trying to make the challenge. Does so, did well to get away from Levitt. Now Celtic can come again. McGregor onto Aaron Moy. Moy moves away from Freeman. Freeman trying to stick with him. Moy turns, plays the ball back. Taylor onto McGregor, back out wide again, onto Greg Taylor, outside the box, left hand side. He'll want the ball on his right foot, so he'll play the ball back onto Hatate. Hatate turns, faces up Sibbald and plays the ball further back onto Starfelt, into the middle of the field. Waiting for it is Johnson. Johnson sends it down the middle. There's a little touch in towards Keogh, and Dundee United do enough through McMahon to get the ball back to the goalkeeper. And Birighitti stands. Keogh just tries to lean into him.
That was good defending, Paul. I mean, there was no space for him to go through the middle there, and that's what Dundee United need to do to make themselves really, really compact in the middle of the goal area.
At the moment, if you're Liam Fox, you're delighted with the way your side's playing.
Yeah, I think that his team are doing well. I think they could do better in an attacking sense. I think they need to, as you know, Stephen Fletcher was demonstrating earlier on to his teammates, just to be much calmer in possession of the ball. And I think if they do that, then they'll get their chances.
Dundee United won 3 of the last 7 in the Scottish Premiership, drawn a couple of those as well, just 2 defeats, so they are starting to find a little bit of form after a really poor start to the league campaign. One of 4 sides on 20 points. Ross County a terrific win against Kilmarnock yesterday to level those sides up. And here's Carter Vickers on the halfway line, lays it out wide onto Johnson. Johnson under pressure from Sibbald, ball back inside to Carter Vickers, halfway line. Starfelt forward onto Taylor. Taylor takes a touch back onto Carl Starfelt. The ball is with Cameron Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers being invited to pull the ball forward onto Adam Moy. Moy inside onto Abada. Abada back out wide onto Moy outside the box on that right hand side. He's wandering back towards the halfway line. Carter Vickers just stands, waits for it. And just has it, takes a little touch to the left and a touch to the right, pulls it back to the left onto Starfelt. Starfelt back onto Carter Vickers and onto Johnson again. Dundee United very disciplined in how they've got back, making it difficult for Celtic to find a way through.
Yeah, I did mention about organisation before the game, and they're well organised. They're shifting across the pitch really well, especially the midfield 3, and they're working very hard.
Hatate and Moy combined. Johnson inside to Kyogo, gets the shot away, beat the goalkeeper's hands but not his legs. He managed to get the ball away. Scott McMahon goes down on the edge of the area. That's a free kick, but it's a fine save from Mark again. He made himself big, save for the legs.
Yeah, we did say that your goalkeeper needs to perform, and that's a couple of really good saves actually that he's made already. But I mean, Celtic, the good thing about this game is Celtic look lively and Dundee United are really at it as well, so it's a really intriguing contest.
It's going to be fascinating stuff. Dundee United have lost the last 6 Scottish Premiership matches played on a Sunday. The day of rest has not been kind to Dundee United. In the last 10 they've taken just 2 points. As the ball gets drilled long from Birighitti, Carl Starfelt with the header up to the halfway line. Sibbald wins the header, drops down onto McGregor. Sibbald tries to fight Abada and wrestles him to the ground. It's an easy free kick for Don Robertson.
Yeah, you can see though, you know, that last situation arose as Celtic had the opportunity. The goalkeeper said Craig Sibbald had to come across from his position just to fill a space, and then Celtic had the ability to see where that other space was and exploited on the opposite side, and that allowed then Johnson to get into a great position to pick the pass for Kyogo.
Celtic looking for the breakthrough against Dundee United. Have the ball out wide, midway inside their opponent's half, through Aaron Moy. Moy back to the halfway line. Carter Vickers is there. Looks so in trouble, Carter Vickers. Nobody's coming to close him down, so he'll take it for a little walk. And he played back inside onto McGregor. McGregor onto Hatate. Hatate back to Callum McGregor. Carter Vickers back to McGregor once more. Now the ball on the angle. Jota wanted to flick the ball back, wanted the run of Taylor. Taylor into the area, has the opportunity, plays it across on Darren Moy. Moy looks for it, but he's being forced away from the area and back on just in front of the Dundee United dugout, and then the ball back inside the Celtic half. Carter Vickers is there.
Yeah, Taylor got into a great position there inside the box. You know, I'd like to see him take on the opposition player, because you know he's in a great position just to either to get to the byline, shift people, he comes back out and just keep the ball, and they'll start all over again.
But they are very patient, but yeah, you know, they probe, and then if something doesn't appear, they'll be quite happy to come right back along the defensive line and out the other side.
Many virtues to the Celtic side. Patience is one of them. As Hatate loses out on that occasion, it comes to Dylan Levitt over the halfway line, looking for Glenn Middleton. Middleton tries to get the ball, but it's knocked back. Carter Vickers will play it into Joe Hart, into the area, back over the head though. Callum McGregor made the initial tackle. It's Joe Hart just overcooking that for no particular reason.
That's 2 now, isn't it?
Yeah, in a very similar situation when it just takes a nice pass along the ground, he knocks it up into the air, that time over the top of Callum McGregor, and the one before that was over the top of Callum McGregor. Yeah. So he'd be a bit annoyed with himself because it's a simple pass to make.
And allows Dundee United to get players up into the last third of the field.
Sibbald down that time.
We've got a free kick maybe here, have they?
It's interesting, the referee's signal wasn't too clear. Johnson seemed to come on. I think Dundee United...
No, it's just a throw in.
Yep, just a throw. Sibbald, to his credit, didn't complain. Ball thrown in. Levitt, ball just out of play again. Mitch couldn't keep it in.
How annoying is that for a manager if you're sitting on the sideline? You know you're in a great position.
But I'm just watching Liam. He's come out his dugout right to the edge of the pitch to say, you know, what the hell's going on? You know, a simple throw in and he plays it back to him and goes out the pitch.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get them that many chances to attack, so every single one is precious.
Yeah, it certainly made the life easy for Celtic, although Kyogo's just headed the ball back into the path of Middleton. He then won it back. Middleton then fights in there. Kyogo then lets the ball run out of play. It was a good decision because it's going to be a throw-in to Celtic. Nearly 33 minutes gone, goalless at Tannadice.
Yeah, listen, there's a good tempo to the game. You know, both teams are applying themselves really well. Obviously Celtic, when they have the ball and they're moving the ball very quickly as we would expect, while Dundee United are really sticking to their task of defending as a really well organised unit.
Adam Moy has it out wide on that far side. Tati has popped up there. He's going to step inside. He's right at the edge of the area. Runs along. Pass comes in towards Kyogo. Dundee United. So many bodies there. Now Behic is going to try and run Callum McGregor. McGregor steps inside brilliantly. Takes the ball. Chips. It's just going to be too long. And Birighetti will come and gather. There's been many in the Scottish Premiership that have tried that against Callum McGregor and have come unstuck. Behic did.
Listen, it's the one area that when Callum was asked to go back there and play in that position and replace Scott Brown, that you were worried that he wouldn't have the strength or that physical ability to play a defensive role, and he's done it so well.
You knew that he had the stamina, because that's one thing he's always had. He's always been able to run all day, but as he's got older, his defensive capabilities have increased, and he can play just about anywhere in the midfield now.
Such an important player for Celtic. He did sign a new 5-year deal back in 2021, so he'll be with Celtic for a while yet. As the ball comes back onto Adam Moy, edge of the area, right hand side, plays it back out wide onto Abada. Gained his place on that right side, inside onto Hatate. Hatate being shadowed, and has to play the ball back to Carter Vickers. Again, just good work off the ball by Dylan Levitt, who goes chasing once more. Here's Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers sends it out wide onto that far side. Now it comes across through Greg Taylor, 25 yards from goal, left hand side, plays it out wide onto Jota. Jota up against Freeman, cuts inside, gets the shot away, but the goalkeeper is right there, drops down onto the ball. It remains Dundee United 0, Celtic 0.
Freeman needs to get help there with Jota, because one of those times he's going to skip by him and he's going to score, but we need to get another player across to give him cover.
But that's the problem, because Ian Harkes is asked to pick up also the midfielder that's on that side, or the fullback is playing inverted fullback, and
it might need to be one of the centre backs.
That's it.
Middleton knocks it down to Harkes. Carter Vickers doing some defensive work, comes across, wins the ball, then tries to send it long onto Abada. Celtic could be away here. McMahon makes the challenge, only holds up Abada. Abada into the area, chips it across, headed back away by Smith. Now it comes down onto Kyogo just by the penalty spot again. Dundee United just getting bodies there. They looked a little bit ragged. Celtic looked set to get through. The ball is out wide with Adam Moy once more. Moy lays it off onto McGregor. McGregor pushed out wide again. Johnson looks for it, lays it off short to McGregor. Outside the box, right hand side, pulls the ball back to Carter Vickers, all the way back to the centre circle now. And here come Celtic once more. Carl Starfelt plays it out wide onto Jota. Jota looking for Hatate inside the area, gets the low ball across, hits off Ryan Edwards. The ball goes behind, corner kick to Celtic, and make that the first corner of the match.
Yeah, going back to the incident before that, Abada getting a slice of luck actually, and that he was able to carry the ball forward, but I thought he should have shot.
Definitely, yeah.
You know, he's in a great position to take on the strike. He tried to pick somebody out and the chance was gone.
Adam Moy gets ready with a corner from the left hand side. Moy stands, shuffles, lifts the ball in, headed away well by Fletcher, comes right down the middle. Taylor has it, hooks the ball with his right foot. Yep. I think Fletcher went down after he got the ball away, and that is going to bring.
I think, is it Freeman, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, I got caught late actually. Yeah, it looks like he's okay.
Yeah, I think Fletcher caught him as he came out. Fletcher got the ball away, and hey, anything's fair game.
Yeah.
Anything's fair game. Get the ball away, and then make sure Carl Starfelt was also in there as well. And Don Robertson is just indicating that the player is up and away. Greg Taylor
Yeah, it's a difficult one for the referee, isn't it? Because if a player's stretched out in the 6-yard box, and you really don't know whether it was a head knock or what. I don't think it was a head knock, actually. I think he may have came across.
I think it might have been, but I'm not sure.
He has to call it.
It looked like it was a problem initially.
Yeah, he has to call it though, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
No physio was required in the end. That's why he's still on the field of play. There's a bounce ball midway inside the Dundee United half, which Ian Harkes has now taken off Greg Taylor. There was one initially by McGregor, and free kick is going to be given. The referee standing with a finger in the air, which is not overly helpful.
But that was the first free kick. There was 3 after that. had hold each other's jerseys, actually.
Dylan Levitt plays it down the side onto Ian Harkes. Harkes gets it through onto Liam Smith. And from Dalgety Bay can't hold on to it. The ball takes a wicked bounce away and it comes down to Dundee United, but Smith heads it behind him. Starfelt hooks the ball high in there. It's a horrible one, and then that comes off the elbow of Dylan Levitt. Play on, says the referee. Celtic fans down below us weren't happy. Craig Sibbald then comes through. Jota then kicks the ball away, and the referee wants a little word for that one. Jota remains down. He's holding his back of his right leg at the moment, and Sibbald gets called over, and the referee Don Robertson not shown a red card in the Scottish Premiership this season in his 8 matches. Showed one at Easter Road last week for Lauren Shanklin, and he's just in conversation. Callum McGregor in there. Nice edge to the game though.
Yeah, and I think that's all credit to Dundee United. Celtic are doing what they do, which is play a real ferocity, real speed, and they test you. They test your concentration time after time after time. But Dundee United have managed to hold firm. The goalkeepers have made a couple of 2 or 3 really good saves, and there's been some good defending. But I think Liam Fox will be delighted with this performance today.
Celtic looking to find a way through before half-time. Just twice in the last 23 years at Tannadice have they failed to score. A 1-0 loss in May 2012 and a 0-0 back in March. And then the opportunity.
It's a completely different way of playing when you come up against Celtic and probably most of the other teams, and many, even I include Rangers now, because of the amount of possession of Celtic and the way that they play off their first second touch passing. You've got to be almost very, very concentrated, good organisation, and you almost have to then not worry too much about the offensive side, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Craig.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Here's Carter Vickers coming forward, plays the ball out wide onto Abada outside the box, right hand side, up against BH. BH keeping control of him, forces him away. Abada takes the touch. Hatate waits a few yards from outside the area on that right hand side, does a little spin and turn. It's a great ball into Aaron Moy. Moy up against McMahon, plays the ball in, turned away by Edwards, and BH will get it and he'll just thump that ball forward. Fletcher will come and try and bring it down. He does so, the ball's just moved away from him. Greg Taylor then thumps it out of play on that far side. Taylor and Fletcher just have a little word with each other, nothing malicious, just appreciating the effort of both, and it's a throw in to Dundee United.
Yeah, they needed the 3 centre backs on that occasion, didn't they? Dundee United would obviously, you have Edwards then picking up a position almost in the middle of the goal when McMahon's allowed then to go, and if he does get beat and the ball's played across, you've got that extra man in there, which has helped Dundee United on a couple of occasions, particularly in that one.
Dundee United with a throw, midway inside their own half, over the halfway line it goes. Fletcher loses out, and Kyogo can't get on the end of it. Dylan Levitt is there. Levitt plays it to Harkes and back out wide. Well won by Johnson. Sibbald comes through, makes the tackle. The ball breaks all the way inside the Celtic half. Joe Hart comes from his goal together, and Carter Vickers will pick up. Carter Vickers slides it down the side to Johnson inside. Here's Abada, 25 yards from goal, still going. Leo Abada gets the shot away. Oh, he's got 6 and 6 against Dundee United. He's entitled to that one, but well wide in the end, and it's a minute closer to half time for Dundee United.
I think that's really interesting as well, and it's very much due to the fact that United are still very much in this match. But any time a Celtic player goes by a Dundee United player, they don't half track back as hard and as fast as they can to try and put pressure on them, and it's been like that since the start of this match. I think Celtic are playing really well, Pat, but United have frustrated them.
There's Mark Berighetti now from the goal kick. Sends it long down the middle. Middleton, bless him, tried, but Alistair Johnson was always going to beat him there. Now the ball flicked back to Tati, sends it over the top for Jota. Jota can't get the better of Freeman, who knocks the ball away from him into the crowd. It's going to be a throw-in to Celtic. Ball took a while to come back. Taylor into Jota. Taylor back to Jota outside the box, left hand side, trying to play it back inside the box onto Itati. Itati is there, clips it across off the post, back to Aaron Moy. What a block from Craig Sibbald. Behic tries to get there to send the ball out of play. Behic gathers, does just enough to get away from Abada, sends it down the side. It's not away. Alistair Johnston has it. What an effort that was from Celtic, and Craig Sibbald, brilliant follow-up tackle. Celtic have it through Moy, back inside onto Itati. 50th appearance for Celtic, plays it through. That might break for Kyogo. The goalkeeper comes and punches. The two are down. Kyogo and Birighitti is down, and the referee, I think, to the spot.
I thought that the goalkeeper was extremely brave there, was he?
I thought he was too. He came over the top of Kyogo, and obviously Kyogo's down, he's down. Did he make contact with the ball? That would be the question.
He did punch it. I'm sure he punched the ball.
Yeah, that I would have.
Did he go through somebody to punch the ball? That's the question.
Yeah, I'm surprised if... Well, listen, if you come off your line and the ball's in a certain area and you have to go for the ball, you can't... It doesn't matter who's underneath you or round about you, you've got to try to go for the ball, and if you make contact with the ball, then is it a free kick? Is it not? I'm not so sure if that I would have been calling that a penalty. I'll be perfectly honest. I know I'm on the goalkeeper's side.
Yeah, it was very brave for sure.
Brian McLaughlin, you've seen it again?
Yeah, multiple incidents there. Yeah, first of all, yeah, no doubt Birighitti did catch a ball, but they also caught Kyogo. They're also looking at potentially an offside for Kyogo when the ball was played through. Now, if he's offside before, I don't think that could be a penalty.
Well, not if he's offside before the incident, but what about it, Brian, in relation to the goalkeeper going for the ball and making contact?
He's certainly claimed the ball, he's punched the ball, but he's also caught Kyogo.
After, well, yeah, this is the question. Who was in the World Cup, or was it in the Euros? Was it the French goalkeeper? I think was, he came out for a punch and he's almost caught the ball on the man and to give a penalty against him. Lloris, wasn't it? And
yes, I think he has given a penalty.
He has, yeah. It's interesting.
So the hand is to the ear at the moment. The referee is holding Birighitti away, so he is in contact with the VAR, who is Ewan Anderson.
I don't know whether there was a push on Kyogo. That would be the other thing that I might add into this, is maybe somebody pushed him into the goalkeeper, and that might have been a reason to give the free kick.
Yeah. We're not having an advantage of being able to watch it back. No. It's very difficult to...
It's also no advantage to the crowd as well, Craig, because they've no idea what's going on. We do know that there is a VAR check going on. He's still holding Don Robertson his left hand to his left ear to figure out what's going on, and he's going to go across and have a little look. So I think you should look no matter what the decision's going to be. I think you're always better educated.
It's such a big decision, isn't it?
Well, he's got to make a decision on a couple of things here. If it's not offside, then it's all about his interpretation of this incident.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I can remember what I saw, but it was that long ago. And it'd be good to have a look at it again, but I'm sure we'll be able to see it this evening.
I think you'd want your goalkeeper to make the challenge that he made in terms of coming for the ball. If it was offside, it would have been ruled out as offside, and the referee says no penalty. On balance, I think that's a good call, and Celtic, to their credit, are not arguing about it. Although Jota threw the ball back to Mark Birighitti. Mark Birighitti then just kicked the ball behind the goal, and the referee's going to have a quiet little word.
Well, I must say, I didn't think it was a penalty. I've already said it in that regard. If a goalkeeper's going to come for a cross or a ball is popped up into the air and he has to almost go over the top or go through bodies, and he makes contact with the ball, I can't see that being a free kick. I played in the position myself, and if I came and I went for the ball, not the player, and would make contact, then I would definitely
but could you liken
have an argument that wasn't a free kick.
Could you liken it, Pat, a defender coming through making contact with a striker before he makes contact with the ball? But that then is a free kick, isn't it?
It is, and there is an argument around that, but I just know from my perspective that from a goalkeeper, I'm going for that ball, and I know Richard might have a point to make in this as an ex-goalkeeper later on when we discuss it.
I think, and I'll speak for Richard here, I don't do this often, that he will probably bow to your goalkeeping knowledge on this one. As the ball comes.
Well, maybe the rules have changed a little bit since my day.
Here's Carter Vickers. So no penalty, just another quiet old afternoon in Scottish football. Carter Vickers plays the ball forward, on to Taylor. Taylor back, on to Carter Vickers. Half-time. Well, we've reached the 45 minutes, 3 additional minutes to be played. Lots to talk about. It's been a good first half. Celtic with the majority of the possession and chances, but at the moment they've not found their way through against a very determined Dundee United side. Adam Moy plays the ball back onto McGregor, edge of the area. Tati flicks it out wide onto Moy once more, being forced all the way back. And it come to the halfway line. Stepping forward is Carter Vickers. Little short pass on to Aaron Moy. Moy has it, round the side it goes. Johnston flicks it back to Carter Vickers again, centre circle. The only man there is Carl Stauffer. He's going to take a touch, play the ball left-footed back to Cameron Carter Vickers. Forward on to Aaron Moy. Moy, out wide it goes, on to Johnson. Johnson, Sybil was there, so he pulls the ball back on to Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers inside, on to Callum McGregor. He chips the ball through, good header away by Smith, and Sybil will complete the clearance up towards the halfway line. Dundee United really could do with that half-time whistle going under severe pressure here. Carl Starfelt throws the ball back across onto that far side. Carter Vickers plays it out wide. The opportunity for Abada onto Tati. Levitt got the touch and then away again by Craig Sybil. Didn't play it off the Celtic player as he was claiming, and it's going to be a throw to Celtic, although that's clipped all the way to the side. Sybil gets in there, knock the ball away, but Celtic gather again through McGregor. McGregor back inside to Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers inside, it comes on to Starfelt. Starfelt sends it across. The referee looks at his watch. Celtic trying to attack once more. They pull it back to the halfway line. Starfelt plays it across. Carter Vickers steps forward, scored his first Celtic goal from a similar position to that, but he plays it out back out wide. Back out onto Callum McGregor. McGregor lays it across onto Starfelt. Dundee United, everybody back behind the ball. Out wide onto Jota. Jota up against Freeman. Freeman trying to hold him up. Jota does well. Moves forward up to the edge of the area. Running across. Low ball in. Dundee United get away, and that was what the referee was waiting for. The Dundee United clearance, so he could put the whistle to his lips and blow for half-time. Dundee United against Celtic going head-to-head. Celtic hit them for 9 last time on this ground. Haven't found a way through in the first half. Kyogo with a good effort, but Getty with a couple of good saves. Then a penalty given and overturned by VAR. Half-time at Tannadice. Dundee United 0, Celtic 0.
All the action.
What a moment!
From all the biggest games.
This is Sports Sound.
Oh, it's a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Another goal!
The Six Nations on BBC Radio Scotland.
The Scottish supporters are delirious in front of us.
Scotland.
England.
France.
Wales.
Italy.
Ireland.
We are Six Nations. England versus Scotland.
And they're in for the try.
Saturday from 4. Listen on your digital radio or ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
You're listening to Sports Sound with me, Richard Gordon. Celtic have had 81% possession, according to the stats, in the opening 45, which doesn't come as a surprise at all. But goalless it is. We already brought you a 0-0 draw. Livingston Hearts, a big reaction from that game to come a little bit later in the SWPL 1 this afternoon. Earlier, Glasgow 0, Aberdeen Women 1. That's Glasgow Women rather than Glasgow City, and we've got a big game that is moving towards half-time anyway. Glasgow Women 0, Aberdeen 1, Partick Thistle 0, Hibernian 4, Spartans 0, Motherwell 0. It was Hearts 1, Celtic 2, or at least that's still playing very late on in that game. Half-time is Hamilton 1, Dundee United 2, Rangers 0, Glasgow City 0. That's the big one, which go a long way towards potentially deciding the title. Glasgow currently 4 points clear, Glasgow City 4 points clear of Celtic, and 7 points clear of Rangers, with a game in hand for Rangers. The highlights tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, BBC Scotland channel. You got all the Premiership highlights tonight as well, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel from the 4 games yesterday, and of course the 2 this afternoon. We've brought you one already. There won't be too many key moments shown, I don't think, from the Tony Macaroni Arena, given the commentary, I suppose, described by the guys we had there. It's Pat Bonner and Craig Levine who are here at Tannadice. I've got to say, Craig, I've found this a fascinating game to watch, just because it's pretty much one way in terms of the flow of the play. But while there are clear merits to what Celtic are doing, there are also clear merits to what Dundee United are doing, isn't there?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think the defending has been excellent. They have had some moments that have gone in their favour, some of them good play by defenders blocking shots, goalkeeper making some good saves, but in general I think their concentration has been the most impressive thing. They haven't, although their 81% possession would lead you to think maybe 20 shots at goal or something like that, but I mean, it hasn't been that way. They've managed to really put out the fires fairly early on without Celtic getting through and getting shots on target. So, yeah, Liam will be really pleased. I mean, the question, and we spoke about this earlier on, well, how long can Dundee United keep their concentration defensively? And will somebody just switch off for a second and Celtic take advantage of it?
Does it become more a mental than a physical issue, Nat?
It's mental tiredness.
Right.
And it's early on in the game, you're sharp and you see everything. As you get tired, you don't quite catch the runs that you should be catching. You don't quite recognise a situation developing early enough. So tiredness is the thing that will beat Dundee United in this game if they do lose, I should say. So, but they have been excellent up to this point, and I think that Liam will be saying more of the same basically in the second half.
So Liam Fox will be pleased, Ange Postecoglou will be pleased, Pat, won't he, in terms of their overall play?
Yeah, very, very good, and keeping lots of control of the game, passing the ball, passing it nice and sharply. There was a couple of moves early on in the game where they sliced right through Dundee United, and that penetrating pass, and they're always looking for it. But from Dundee United's perspective, they've almost stopped that after that sort of almost couple of initial attacks from Celtic and forced them into the wide areas. And I would like to see a little bit more from Abada on the right hand side. He's got plenty of the ball, but he's kind of almost checked back. He hasn't taken the player on yet. He
played one part back to, when I got when the wingers on the wing, the ball went out to him, and he played it back to Carter Vickers for him across the ball. Yeah, and
Jota on the other side, you can see that he's a danger. He'll come on the inside, he'll go on the outside. Maybe Craig Taylor might have to go round him a little bit quicker and more. He's picking a lot of ball up here on this left hand side, because that's what Dundee United is leaving the ball almost out those spaces vacant and marking right across the 18-yard box and making it difficult. But no, Ange Postecoglou, and from Celtic, they'll keep playing the same way, the same sharpness, and then he'll put on the subs. It will be fresher legs. And what Craig was saying about tiredness, mental tiredness, that then will be a real test for Dundee United. But Celtic, right down to the last minute, even if it's 0-0, they'll keep going, and that's the nature.
Is this reminiscent of that game at Pittodrie? The game where Callum McGregor eventually scored in the 89th minute?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think the difference is that Aberdeen defended on the 6-yard box.
United are defending a little
higher up on the 18, and that's they're engaging Celtic a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But and that's allowed then the midfielders to pick up better positions and so on. And you can't defend that deep the way Aberdeen did and get away with it, because Celtic have got the ability and the quality of the players inside the box. Then you can't tackle. That's the other problem when you're that deep.
Here's the other question: if Celtic do make substitutions and bring fresh players on, do Dundee United have anybody on the bench that can come on and help them? Because this might be the best starting 11. I think the drop-off, Celtic's drop-off is well now non-existent, really.
Well, Pat pointed out last time that actually Celtic drop up, not down, when it comes to putting subs on quite often. They've quite often got better players on the bench to come on, which is astonishing. Incidentally, the English FA Cup, Brighton have knocked Liverpool out. A 2-1 win for Brighton. Tona with a goal deep in the stoppage time. Stoke have beaten Stevenage 3-1. Sheffield United are 1-0 up away to Wrexham. Big talking point right at the end. So much pressure, of course, on that Dundee United goal. The ball in, Kyogo goes for it. Birigiri comes out. Don Robertson awards a penalty. He's told to delay while VAR have a look. He has to come across. He checks it himself on the screen. He reconsiders and he says no penalty. More often than not, well, I say more often than not, taking handballs out of the issue, because that's a complete lottery in terms of what decision you're going to get. But for other decisions, more often than not, Pat, you tend to go with your gut feeling, don't you? And I don't think anyone up here thought, oh, penalty.
No.
getting him out.
No, I didn't think so. And no, the difference between Craig and myself was talking about it in relation to a defender going through somebody and trying to get to a ball just hanging in the air, but you don't have the advantage of having a fist or an extension. No. Well, it's there. The goalkeeper will always go for the ball when it's in that area of the pitch, and it's not that far out.
You would be gutted if you're the manager and he didn't go for it.
I would be asking questions of the goalkeeper not going for it. But then I thought maybe Kyogo slightly pushed into him and got in underneath him rather than anything else. If he knocked him out of the road with his arm or something,
there was like two actions rather than one. That would. Yeah.
So I was surprised that he gave the. But was it an obvious error then? When VAR calls it like that from the referee.
Well, the VAR's worked really well here.
Well, it's interpretation of the situation, and the referee called it initially and then comes over and changes his mind.
But that's for me, that's working.
Yes, that's what it's for.
I think that's a good decision.
We haven't seen it yet, though.
No, we haven't. But as I say, that kind of situation, more often the gut feeling is right when you watch it, and. There was a chorus then from the Celtic fans who haven't been very happy about certain VAR. Although, to be fair, they had some against them and they've had some in their favour, it has to be said, in recent weeks.
This one I wouldn't put into the category of...
I don't know what happened there, because I saw you laughing and I didn't quite catch what they were saying. What were the...
You're not allowed to say. I couldn't possibly... Or if I did repeat it, I would just simply pick up my car keys and leave the stadium, and the end of my broadcasting career would come very swiftly. If indeed I did take my headphones off to listen to what it was they're actually saying, and then I realised.
You can tell me once we're off here.
I will, and if anyone at home heard it, I may apologise, but clearly there's not much we can do when there are 8,000 people chanting a particular song aimed at the SFA. Anyway, the penalty wasn't awarded. Dundee United have had a bit of a breather. Actually, is that a good thing, Craig? And in a situation like this, where because you're having to be so focused and determined, and you're having to shut down the space and repel these constant attacks, does half-time almost... can that disrupt you in that sense? Can it get in the way?
So then the team talk at half-time has to be almost like a crescendo. You need to get them ready to go back out in the same frame of mind as if they arrived when they came in.
And that's difficult.
It is very difficult. It's particularly if you also want them to use half-time as a period of rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to get that right.
I think there's three key periods in the game. Is just before half-time, when you can almost mentally, you're getting a half-time, you're shutting down, and then after you come back out to get going again, and then obviously when tiredness kick in right at the end of a game, and they're the periods where you have to be more concentrated.
Yeah, there's two things still to come, isn't there? There's this first 5 or 10 minutes of the second half where maybe they've switched off too much at Dundee United. Because Celtic will just do the same thing. We're confident of that. And then there's the last 10-15 minutes of the match, which again comes down to tiredness. So it's really, I said earlier on, it's an intriguing contest today for a number of different reasons, and I'm really interested to see how it plays out.
Actually, just thinking back through that first half, Jota had 2 or 3 very good efforts, another couple that went wide. Hatate, a little chip that hit the crossbar, but I suppose if anything summed up United, it was what happened there after the ball bouncing. His chip hit the post. As it bounced back out, Aaron Moy is on it. He connects very powerfully with a volley, and it's Craig Sybil who just throws his body in front of him.
Brilliant.
It was a great defender.
When you compare that, Richard, to the Rangers game, wasn't it? When Kyogo, I think it was, or Kamara switched off and just stood and watched. There was a game, and that was Craig Sybil doing his job as a midfield defensive player, really reacting so quickly to a real problem for Dundee.
Well, it's a goal if he doesn't do it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, Moy on it and very much aware of the situation. I mentioned, of course, highlights tonight, women's highlights on Monday night. Plenty football and sports sound in the week ahead. Tuesday night, there's live commentary, Ross County against Hibernian. That, of course, the night that the transfer window closes, so they'll take you through pretty much to the end of the January transfer window. I wonder just how busy it's going to be. A couple of cup ties that night as well. Cove Rangers against Ayr United, Cali Thistle against Queen's Park, and then on Wednesday the 5 other games in the top flight. Some really, really big ones. Hearts against Rangers. I think a lot of people really fancying that one. We'll have commentary from that. There's Celtic Livingston. My goodness, there'll be a lot of focus on Aberdeen against St Mirren as well in the wake of events at Pittodrie of late. Kilmarnock take on Dundee United. Motherwell St Johnstone. Coverage of all 5 games. Sound join myself and the gang on Wednesday night, and then Friday it's back to live Championship football on the BBC Scotland channel. What a game that could be. Queen's Park against Ayr United. Queen's Park losing out to Dundee yesterday. Ayr with a very convincing win up in Cove on Friday night. So it's going to be a busy old week. It'll all be live, of course, with us here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We're just awaiting the re-emergence of the sides here at Tannadice. Certainly the 2 complements of substitutes look to have been out and going through their paces during the half-time interval. I don't see anyone readying themselves to enter the fray, although we know that there will inevitably be a flurry of changes, if not right at the start, but certainly fairly early in the second half, as both teams gear up for the second, or the remainder of the second 45 minutes. So the subs, 1 or 2 just beginning to vacate the pitch. They'll have had the shout from the coaching staff that the rest of the players, those who have been involved in the game, are about to emerge. You'll see actually a bit of activity down by the end of the tunnel there, where the cameraman with the Steadicam is ready to capture the pictures as the players re-emerge from their half-time interval. A chilly early evening here in on Tayside, inside Tannadice Park, as the fans down below is, of course, a big Celtic support. They fill half the stadium, and I was going to say rise to their feet, but they're pretty much already all on their feet. The applause rings out as Callum McGregor leads his team back out for the second 45 minutes, followed pretty swiftly by Ryan Edwards, who has been part of that Dundee United central defence that so far has repelled everything that Celtic have thrown their way. Remember, 81% possession for Celtic in the first 45 minutes, but they could not find a breakthrough, and that's why, as we return to commentary, it is still goalless between Celtic and Dundee United here at Tannadice. Craig Levine, Pat Bonner and Paul Mitchell.
Thanks, Richard. Dundee United won just 1 of the last 24 Scottish Premiership meetings going back to 2012. They've drawn 5, lost 18 in terms of points. Dundee United 8 points, Celtic just the 57 picked up. Dundee United's last 6 wins against Celtic have all come at home. They haven't won at Celtic Park since Boxing Day of 1992. Can they find a 7th win against Celtic here at Tannadice? It is match 101 at Tannadice. In terms of league head-to-head, Celtic won just over half of them, 52, drawn 21, Dundee United with 27. Underway at the start of the second half, Celtic in the green and white hoops coming from left to right. Dundee United, great home kit this season, the tangerine with a DUFC as the badge. Black shorts, tangerine socks topped off with black as Jota immediately gets himself into the area. What a chance! Just drags the shot wide, flashed it wide. I mean, that was literally 20 seconds into the second half, and Jota jolted Dundee United but couldn't put it on target.
Well, we just said at half-time that you know, coming back out for Dundee United, the concentration levels or the intensity of defending that they were doing in the first half might be lacking, and it certainly was there, because Celtic just penetrated right through the middle, and Jota picking it up and was able then to sort of kind of almost beat the defender at ease and get a shot away, and it wasn't that far wide, I'll tell you.
Kyogo tries to get away from Edwards. Edwards does well, lays it off onto Levitt. Levitt pulls the ball back onto Liam Smith. Smith forward onto Fletcher. Fletcher tries to release Middleton. Just doing enough with Carter Vickers. Not done a lot defending in the game, hasn't had to. Pokes the ball out wide. Middleton chasing after it, won it. Gets it back. Here's Ian Harkes. Struggling slightly towards the end of the first half. Ian Harkes is offside as given. Dundee United Freeman just going too early. Let me run you through the teams. Mark Birighetti in goal for Dundee United. The back three of Smith, Edwards and McMahon. It really turns into a back five with Freeman and Behich either side. Harkes, Sibbald and Levitt in the midfield with Middleton trying to support Stephen Fletcher. For the visitors, Celtic, Joe Hart in goal. Johnson, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor. Moy, McGregor, Hattati, Abada, Kyogo and Jota. Celtic have it on that far side through Taylor, forward towards Moy. Easy for Ryan Edwards to step it. Never beaten Celtic in his career. Ryan Edwards, ever present for Dundee United this season. Have to change the never-beaten Celtic Park, as he remains a key player at the heart of the defence. Carter Vickers forward onto Itati. Little touch and turn onto McGregor. McGregor opens it up onto Greg Taylor. Taylor could play it out wide onto Jota. Inside it comes, straight into the 6-yard box, and straight Pat Bonner into the arms of goalkeeper Mark Birighitti.
Yeah, it was just too straight towards the goalkeeper. I think if you got a little bit more of a bend on that, or even, I thought Greg Taylor also had a little opportunity to drive forward and have a strike when that space opened up for him, instead of passing it out to Jota.
Great one. The header by Fletcher got it down onto Middleton. Carter Vickers had to come inside the area and knock the ball out of play on that far side. Great takedown there, Craig Levein, by Stephen Fletcher.
Yeah, I mean, he's a handful, isn't he? I mean, he's caused those two centre-backs. The problem is any time he's had the opportunity and the ball's been near him, which hasn't been very often, to be honest, but you know, there's still something there for Dundee United. You know, one of these opportunities where maybe knocks the ball on to Middleton, who outpaces the other centre-back. That's a definite possibility for Dundee United today.
Itati wins the ball, plays it inside the area onto McGregor. Starfelt lifts it up towards the halfway line. Behic very quickly in towards Barnaby. Lets the ball bounce over his head, and Aaron Moy will come and gather. Closing him down was Dylan Levitt. Sweeps a little pass inside onto Johnson. Johnson inside the area, but too many players back for Dundee United. Scotland man in there, doesn't get a particularly great clearance away. Down the line it goes. Now it's going to be a throw into Celtic, which they take from the wrong place, but happily it's way further back than it should have been, so the referee happy to let play continue. 0-0 here. Celtic gathering through Aaron Moy. Moy gives the ball away, the one to Fletcher. Fletcher then tries to draw the free kick. Moy goes down, and the referee decided that Moy was playing the ball whilst on the ground. Free kick will go the way of Dundee United. Aaron Moy might stretched out a little bit too much. He's getting help to his feet just to check he's okay.
Yeah, initially it came from a bad pass from Greg Taylor into Moy, and it kind of bobbled up on him, and he couldn't control it.
The pitch is a little bit bumpy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty bare in patches as well, so he's done that on a number of occasions today.
Ryan Edwards played out wide, looking for Behic. Can't get there. Ball was headed out of play by Johnson, and Dundee United will have the chance to get the throw in. Celtic unbeaten the last 8 at Tannadice. 1-6 drawn 2. Dundee United trying to find a way through. They throw the ball in, throw it backwards towards Scott McMahon. McMahon under a little bit of pressure there and loses out to Barrow, takes it away. Sybil goes in with a sliding challenge. Celtic still have it. They break over the halfway line, and Edwards sends the ball forward, and Fletcher waits for it. It'll come down to Middleton. McGregor knocks the ball back, and Carter Vickers will send it back to Joe Hart, the goal to our left hand side. Hart plays it to of the area. Johnson has it, plays it forward onto Adam Moy. Moy drops it back to the edge of the box to Carter Vickers. Dylan Levitt is in there, just trying to put some pressure in. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 against Celtic. As Celtic get the ball away, Freeman on that far side, the first player to be booked, and just a little bit too lax on the tackle, and the yellow card comes out.
He did the right thing initially. He made a really good 30-yard run to close Greg Taylor down. He didn't expect him coming, and he kind of almost miscontrolled it.
So that's the first time that they've had a press that high up, Dundee United. That's the first occasion they've tried that.
Yeah. Back, almost the half-court press. Celtic bring the ball away down this right-hand side. Aaron Moy gets the ball in, but again he's lost it, and it's headed in. Jota on the angle. It's a simple header. The goalkeeper was flummoxed completely, and Celtic take the lead. The first away side to score in the Scottish Premiership this weekend. 6 minutes gone in the second half. Dundee United 0, Celtic 1.
Well, you know, I'd said in the first half that Birighitti had picked up a great position to come and take the cross, and he dealt with it. This time the ball's almost crossed from out on the sideline, and I don't know whether he was in a bad position or he's got just caught, because the ball seemed to go right to the back post, but he should have been able to deal with that.
He was caught underneath it, Pat. Yeah. I'm sure it was. I don't know if the wind played any part down there that held it up in the air a little bit longer. But also, I think there was a defender at the back post who had tracked Jota's run. I don't know if it was Freeman or Smith, but he should have done better. I think he's just assumed his goalkeeper is going to catch it, and Jota's been left to header it into the back of the net.
But what a good header from Jota, you've got to say, and especially brave header, because he was almost on the post.
Tight angle, wasn't it?
And it was a tight angle, so for a winger also, he could have easily given up on that, and he didn't, and it puts Celtic into that position. And we did say after half-time, critical time for Dundee United.
Smith goes to ground. I thought that came off his arm. Play on, says the referee. It was inside his own half. Rio Hatate has it. Dundee United are behind at home against Celtic by 1-0. Jota, the goal scorer. And Dundee United will be disappointed to have lost that goal. Taken just 1 point when they've lost the opening goal in the Scottish Premiership this season. And they've lost the opening goal now 13 times. Only Aberdeen have been worse. They've lost every game, I beg your pardon, that they've lost the opening goal in. Here's Aaron Moy. Moy turns the ball back onto Rio Hatate. Hatate is there for all the hard work and all the effort Dundee United have put in. They find themselves behind.
Listen, from Celtic's perspective, they will be absolutely delighted to get a goal at this stage. It settles them down, and they can keep playing their game now and hope to get a second. But from Dundee United's perspective, I did say you don't want to make mistakes. It's about individuals also not making silly mistakes.
It's a poor goal to lose.
And there was a poor one. No danger out on the right-hand side, and it was a simple cross into the back post.
Celtic come forward again down this right hand side. Leal Abada inside to Hatate. He works the 1-2. Abada has the ball on the left foot, pushes it out wide. Jota is there, gathers, clips it round. There's certainly a handball. I think that hit Kieran Freeman. Play on, says the referee. Jota goes to the byline, drags the ball back. Freeman is the defender there. It's laid back onto Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor will gather, he moves away. Taylor now trying to find a bit of space. Freeman sticking with him at the moment. And the ball pulled back onto Jota, onto Hatate. Round the corner it comes onto Alistair Johnston. Johnston plays it through. The flag has stayed down. Abada drives it across, and the ball goes behind off Edwards.
Yeah, he's offside, I think.
Yeah. Flag's gone up. It has.
Yeah, and I think there might be a check on that last handball. It was a big shift from Jota. He was
adamant, wasn't he?
He was adamant, yeah.
Yeah, it's a VAR check. I have to think. My initial reaction was penalty. I have to say I thought it's a spot kick. It's gone to VAR, and it's now Brian McLaughlin is pitch side. Your thoughts, Brian?
Absolute stonewall penalty. Kieran Freeman sticks his hand out. This will be a penalty kick. I have absolutely no doubt at all that Don Robertson will be heading across to the VAR box. Indeed, that's what he's doing now. It will be a penalty kick to Celtic, undoubtedly.
So it'll just be a question of who decides to take it. The referee comes across to the VAR booth. The Dundee United backroom staff don't even influence him, argue with him. You're not allowed to do that. And he wanders down, but when he reappears, Don Robertson will point to the penalty spot in the Scottish Premiership, which is the second time in 9 games this season.
I think Kieran Freeman knows it. Also, you can see his reaction over on the pitch, almost shaking his head.
Yeah. The signal of the television is made, and he points to the spot. Craig Sibbald puts up some resistance, but Celtic have a spot kick, and this is a big moment in the match. 10 minutes on the clock. Mark Birighetti is refusing to give the ball back. Aaron Moy will be the penalty taker, you would suspect, and eventually the ball is handed to the Australian. Well, they got a penalty last week. Aaron Moy's got a chance to pop this one away as well. Celtic just 2 out of 4 from the spot this season. And Gimakis, Juranovic have missed. Aaron Moy has scored twice. Mark Birighetti just steps back onto his line. 56 minutes gone at Tannadice. Celtic lead by 1. Can they double their advantage? Aaron Moy stands, right-footed player, so he stands off to the left-hand side. The ball just on the very edge of the spot. Shuffles forward. Never in doubt. Goalkeeper and all the power and all the pace you would want from a penalty. Aaron Moy scores. Dundee United 0, Celtic 2.
Yeah, and there's a good finish from Aaron Moy. Just waited, almost waited till the goalkeeper went to his right-hand side. The goalkeeper was away fairly early, but another big moment in the game. And again, we talked about VAR getting the right decisions. In this instance, it goes for Celtic. In the last instance, it went for Dundee United.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, I didn't see it as clearly. Obviously, Brian's had a look at the TV footage, and he was adamant, wasn't he, that it was a penalty. So I don't think there'll be any complaints from Dundee United on that front.
Yeah, and the reaction from Jota too, you could see that huge reaction from him. There was something, and we're too far away to be able to call it, but certainly.
Who was it? Freeman? Was it Freeman?
Yeah, Freeman. Yeah.
His arm was out. Then, was it close to his body? Was it natural? But the second it's getting checked, it was always going to be given. As the ball gets thrown in by Celtic. Celtic now 71 Scottish Premiership goals this season. They're the best away team in the league. Most wins, most points, most goals. And at the moment, they will be re-establishing their lead at the top of the table to 9 points. Freeman moves forward, ball into the middle, headed behind by Carter Vickers, and the first corner kick of the afternoon for Dundee United comes with 12 minutes gone in the second half. They need a little bit of magic somehow, Craig.
Yeah, Richard's just pointed out to me as well that Freeman had already been booked.
That's a fair point, yeah.
So, I mean, he should be booked, shouldn't he, for the handball in the box, or is that just a bit harsh?
Yeah, I think that's harsh. I think you're not, hit your hand.
Corner comes in, it's high to the back post. Stephen Fletcher with a header straight at Joe Hart. I mean,
do you book somebody for something that happens so close? No,
I'm not just arguing the rights or wrongs of it. I just thought,
maybe the rules state that you should be booked. I've seen others. Listen, I've seen Burnaby booked for a handball and a penalty. There was, for me, it was never a penalty.
Here comes Taylor, gets the shot away off the back of Ryan Edwards. Now, it was a good point lost in the awarding of the penalty. Kieran Freeman had been booked in after 50 minutes, so it would have been a very, very quick double yellow. The ball is back with Birighetti. Dundee United are thinking about a change. We'll get down to Brian in just a moment as Adam Moy scoops the ball forward, and coming out of his goal is Mark Birighetti. Field goal would have been offside, but he stayed in place, and Abada came through. Brian, what's the change coming?
Yeah, there is going to be a change. There's going to be Jamie McGrath, the player, coming on. We expect it may well be Ian Harkes. They were thinking about that change actually just before the break, and they were giving Ian Harkes some time to run off a little knock. But yeah, it looks like it will be Harkes who will be coming off and McGrath coming on, just to clear up the penalty kick situation. To me, that looked a deliberate handball. It wasn't just that his arm was out there. He actually physically put his arm out to stop the ball from going through. So if it wasn't a yellow card, it probably should have been.
Good point from Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Man on the spot.
That's why he's there.
That's why.
TV cameras help.
Ball back onto the halfway line. Liam Smith will gather. Smith takes a touch and goes out wide. And it deflects off Jota, and out of play it goes. Here comes the change. How quickly a game of football can change.
If it was a deliberate handball, though, what a stupid decision.
Yeah, what is he thinking?
What's he thinking then, if that's the case? Inside the box, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt that it was so close, and it was one of them where your hand's out and it hits you, which is a rule now. But to do it deliberately, if that's what it is, wow. After your team going a goal behind, now you're almost...
Well, I would
kill the game for them.
Well nigh impossible now for United to get back into this game.
Well,
and if they do, they're bringing McGrath on, they're going to have to make some attacking changes, which then makes them more vulnerable defensively. So, what does Liam do at this minute in time?
And the thing is, you don't want it to clock up to another 3, 4, 5.
Absolutely, yeah. And they could easily do that, Celtic. They can do that to anybody.
Well, Celtic unbeaten 15 Scottish Premiership games, won 14, drawn 1. The draw against Rangers looks like that will tick up to 16. Dundee United trailing here by 2-0. They scored twice against Celtic in November. That was the first time they'd scored more than one against Celtic since 2014. Doesn't happen too often, and somehow they've got to try and find a way to get on the score sheet, because at the moment all the positives of the first half have drained away with the loss of the 2 goals.
But now they have to get hold of the ball. That's another problem for Dundee United. They haven't had much of the ball.
Jota plays the ball inside. Taylor inside the area, opens up for Hatate. Hatate onto Adam Moy at the edge of the box, lays the ball back. The shot came in from Johnson. It's a shout for handball, and as Middleton tried to get it away, there was a sliding challenge by Adam Moy, just caught him. It is a free kick, and Dundee United will see the pressure just being eased slightly as they get the chance to play the ball away. And just holding on is Ryan Edwards. So Ian Hart's withdrawn. Jamie McGrath on, just his 4th substitute appearance of the season. That's his experience of beating Celtic. He beat them as a St Mirren player back in 2021. But at the moment they're 2 down, Dundee United. And now long by Birighetti. Carter Vickers gets the header on it. On to Callum McGregor. McGregor plays the ball down the middle. Gets it on to Adam Moy. Moy back to McGregor. Now on to Adam Moy. Halfway line. Celtic hold on. It's on to Hitati. Hitati plays the ball through the legs of McGrath. Still not had a touch in the game. Now Jota has it. And McGrath goes past him. Sybil knocks the ball away. Jota went down and hopefully bounced back up as Callum McGregor has it out wide on that far side. Freeman has to be careful, goes to ground, slides in. It's going to be a corner kick to Celtic.
Well, Celtic are doing better in this half. They're penetrating more with their passes. It's not a square pass. They're getting into good positions in between the lines, and they're playing that ball really quickly through.
I was going to say even quicker than the first half.
Yeah.
They were quick in the first half.
See the wind is picking up down there. 2 bits of litter swirling around as Celtic take the corner short. Adam Moy has it, plays the ball back onto McGregor, forced all the way back, and he's midway inside the Dundee United half. Comes back on to Hitati. Hitati nonchalant plays it off to Starfelt. Starfelt back onto Adam Moy. Lovely little ball round the corner. Now there's a chance to get the ball in the box. The cross is way too deep. I'll take a bounce, go behind. It will remain here. Dundee United 0, Celtic 2. We've played 63 minutes. And at the moment it's looking tough. Craig Levine for Dundee United.
Yes, it certainly is. I mean, they're still playing with energy. They're still playing with aggression. But it's a long way back against Celtic when you're 2 goals behind. I'm watching this for a spell there. I watched Moy and McGregor. They just never give the ball away, do they? It's incredible.
Just throwing Hitati alongside them. He never stops moving.
Yeah, doing him a disservice, yeah.
Here's Hitati, picks up on the ball, goes down under the challenge of Sybil. Play on, says the referee. Celtic have retained possession. Aaron Moy has the touch between inside his opponent's half. Hitati looking for the ball, but it's back with McGregor. Now it comes into Hitati, does a little step over, plays it back from Abada. Onto Hitati, gets the ball across. Goalkeeper manages to grab it under pressure from Johnny Kyogo was there as well.
Those 3 players that you mentioned just seconds ago, all involved in that little move.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Little passing, 10-yard passes to...
Edwards wanted all day. In fact, it was Levitt who wanted all day to move the ball. He lost it. Dundee United somehow got it back. Celtic didn't make them pay that time. Here's Craig Sybil coming over the halfway line. Lays the ball out wide. Chance for Behic to make a little change and run down this left-hand side, but he's given the ball away to Carter Vickers inside at the edge of the area to Callum McGregor. He's given it away, played through by Levitt onto Fletcher, breaks back onto Levitt. He could play it out wide here. Opportunity for Freeman, play it into the middle. Fletcher was stretching for a good header away. Carter Vickers, and then it's cleared by Greg Taylor on that far side. Edwards plays it back first time, can only find Hitati, breaks down to Sybil. Sybil is Behic outside him. Outside him is Glenn Middleton. Middleton now coming down the left-hand side, plays it inside onto Behic. Back once more onto Middleton. Middleton gets the ball onto Craig Sybil, who's trying to drive his way through. He plays that a little bit behind Middleton, but he gets it back. Now out wide onto Liam Smith. Smith out wide onto Freeman. Freeman into the middle. Joe Hart comes, knocks the ball down and takes that. Dundee United have made a change. Celtic are preparing to. We'll get to Brian when the ball goes out of play. Celtic and Dundee United, it's relentless at the moment. Tackle on that far side, working hard as Jamie McGrath. The ball is out of play. It's the throw to Celtic. We go pitch side to Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, Jota scored the first goal. His game is going to be over very shortly, as will Rio Hatatas. The players coming on, Matt O'Reilly and Daisen Meda. And David Turnbull as well maybe coming on. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be a third substitution. But yeah, Jota's certainly coming off. Hitati, another player coming off. As I said, David Turnbull also coming on, so who will be third player may well be Leila Bada, potentially. You may see better than I can, Paul.
Yeah, we're just waiting on the board being flashed up, Brian, but those are the changes that are being outlined. It's Adam Moy who's coming off, David Turnbull replacing him, and Jota getting the applause of the Celtic fans who are down below us.
Paul, it's really interesting. I would argue that those have been the 3 best players.
And they've got good players coming on, though, Craig. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, normally you'd be gutted, wouldn't you, if you're coming off. We haven't played as how these 3 have played.
Yeah.
But
It's not a case, I think, that he changes them because they've been playing bad.
No,
just to
that's
keep
the
them all
point.
involved, keep them fresh. And the players that they're bringing on is just as well. Yeah, they're just as good. Let's put it that way. You can't say otherwise. Unbelievable strength and talent in that squad at the moment.
So Turnbull, O'Reilly, Maida are all on for Celtic as Dundee United taking a chance at the back. Scott McMahon running into trouble. Celtic have got a player down. I think it may well be Abada. Check that in a second. They're watching the ball move across to the left-hand side. Celtic leading by 2-0. Sibbald has the ball. Abada is back up and okay. He's played ball back onto McMahon. McMahon plays it on to Behic. Behic tries to find a little bit of room to step away from Matt O'Reilly. The ball is out of play. The assistant has not indicated one way or the other which way it's going. He now decides to indicate to the players who are fighting for the ball it's a Celtic throw, and then the referee says hang on, there's an issue, and wants that taken once more. Not quite sure what the officials are trying to get at there. And eventually the ball gets thrown back. I think the fourth official got involved there as well, which is Gavin Duncan. No particular lead. Celtic have the ball in the field of play now. Played out wide. On to Turnbull. Turnbull round the corner. And just coming together. And the referee says, let's play on once more. Abada's calling for it on this right-hand side. Carter Vickers has it on the inside. Drops it forward to McGregor. Matt O'Reilly plays it through. Behic had to just hook the ball clear. Abada was right in behind him. McGrath brings the ball down, loses out to Taylor. Taylor gets it to Turnbull, and Levitt comes back, wins it for Dundee United. But again, too many Celtic players there. Taylor won it. Comes back down from Turnbull to McGregor. Inside, on to Johnson. Johnson with a drag back. Celtic passing the ball nicely. Now the opportunity for Maida to get to the byline on that far side, brings it in. Swinging in there was Kyogo, just couldn't get the target that he wanted. Kind of came off his toe, I think.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was a good cut back, and it was actually, I think it was Kyogo that took it away from O'Reilly. That was getting himself into a great position to go and finish, and he was stretching for Kyogo and just couldn't make proper contact. But good initial play from Maeda coming on the pitch.
Ball played out wide onto Fletcher. Fletcher gets the touch, clears on to Freeman. Craig Sibbald indicating go forward, and instead he gets the pass, which I'm not convinced he wanted. Now turns the ball, plays it out wide on to Liam Smith. Smith tries to get it back down the side. He'll block as the ball will go high and take a bounce. He's gone out of play. Over to the flag to go up on that far side. Drew Kirkland gave that to Dundee United, and the referee decided to give it to Celtic.
Yeah, it was a Celtic ball. I think he got confused a little bit when Freeman ran after the ball. I think he just went with that reaction rather than, I don't think he's seen it.
Celtic have scored now in the last 19 matches. They were last blank against Red Bull of Leipzig. They lost 2-0. Not conceded in any of the last 4 games, Celtic. And at the moment keeping Dundee United at bay. They came over the halfway line, but Dundee United win it back through Glenn Middleton. Middleton inside onto Dylan Levitt. Levitt opens the ball up onto Liam Smith. Smith is Freeman on the outside of him. Perhaps a lucky player to still be on the park in this his 50th game as Sibbald then knocks the ball out of play. Celtic decided not to go quickly with it. Craig Levein just looks a little disconsolate at the moment.
Yeah, he's quite fiery actually, you know. He's had a few hefty challenges today, but he doesn't like getting beat, you know, which is a good thing. I like his attitude, you know, it's first class.
He's after the ball this time, goes to deck, wins his side the free kick. So Dundee United 4th last season, one of 4 clubs this season on 20 points at the bottom of the table. Motherwell, Dundee United, Ross County and Kilmarnock all on 20. St Johnstone sitting on 24.
Yeah, I saw it just, when they made the substitutions, and Craig just called it actually. They've just taken a wee bit of time to settle down in midfield.
Long ball into the area. Jamie McGrath has it. 2 Celtic players around him, has to go outside the area. Now got a 3rd Celtic player around him. He's holding the ball in. The ball hasn't gone out. Minded as well. Brings it away on that far side. Freeman clips the ball back to Sibbald. Sibbald shuffles beautifully past Maida. Gets it down the side onto McGrath. McGrath into the middle, headed away by Starfelt. To be picked up by Dylan Levitt midway inside his opponent's half. Out to this near side. Celtic leading by 2-0. goals within just about 5 minutes of each other. Jota and then Adam Boy from the penalty spot. 12,448 inside the ground, just over 5,070 as Fletcher gets the shot away. So over 5,000 Celtic fans have made the trip to Tannadice, and they're enjoying what they're watching. Celtic over the halfway line. Matt O'Reilly, what a signing he's turned out to be. O'Reilly plays it out wide onto Abada by the corner flag on the right hand side, pulls the ball back onto Johnson. Johnson inside onto Callum McGregor. McGregor sends out wide. Taylor on that left hand side. Maida's there with him, plays the ball back to him. Maida will gather, takes the touch, plays it inside onto David Turnbull. Turnbull to McGregor. Taylor had made a run, but it was checked as Celtic decide just to bring the ball back. Back inside it comes on to Callum McGregor. McGregor. O'Reilly from Maida. Back out wide. Celtic racking up the passes as they have done for most of the afternoon. And it comes back inside their own half, and they will build again. Dundee United are going to make a triple change. I have to say, I'm one of these grumpy commentators who hates the number of substitutes we get nowadays. As Matt O'Reilly plays the ball through, here's a chance for Kyogo, just can't wrap his foot around it. Brigetti was out very, very quickly, and the flag was up anyway, it wouldn't have counted. And the changes are coming. Changes 1, 2 and 3 are all coming together for Brian McLaughlin to tell us.
Paul, I wish we would do these one at a time, but unfortunately not. There's 3 coming on now for United. Fletcher, Middleton are the players being replaced. Coming on, Peter Pollitt, Arnaud Djoum, and the youngster Rory McLeod, who I know they're really, really keen on here at Dundee United. But that's the 3 changes. Fletcher off, Middleton off, Levitt off, Pollitt, Djoum and McLeod, the players coming on.
Thanks, Brian. So Rory McLeod has all made his debut in the 1-1 draw with Celtic last season, so get his chance to come on. Arnaud Djoum off the bench for the 5th time this season. And Peter Pollitt's been a sub in the last 2, he'd missed the previous 4, so he gets the chance to come on. So Rory McLeod wears 44, moves into the middle of the field. Peter Pollitt alongside him as Mark Brigetti sends it long. O'Reilly introduced to the game by Djoum. Djoum got there, and the ball breaks onto Rory McLeod. Across the centre circle he comes, but he'll lose out to Callum McGregor. And Callum McGregor wins it and plays the ball back for Celtic. Celtic now with 15 goals against Dundee United this season. The 9-4, and at the moment the 2. With just over 60 minutes left to play.
Yeah, just talking about Callum McGregor there.
What an appetite, Pat.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't give the ball away, as you say, Craig, but his hunger to win the ball back in that position is really,
incredible.
really good.
So Callum McGregor, appearance number 400 for Celtic in a couple of seasons, could get to 500. Still very much part of Ange Postecoglou's plans. Hopefully hits 50 caps for Scotland soon as well, setting up 49 as the ball gets played out wide. Celtic gather, chance to bring it forward through Turnbull on to Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers takes the touch over the halfway line, plays it out wide onto Johnson. Johnson, touch, gets it inside onto Callum McGregor. Plays the ball back to Carter Vickers here. A little look across to the bench as he brought that one under control. He has it back once more. And now here's the opportunity for Carl Starfelt to come forward. Starfelt back inside onto Carter Vickers. Dundee United 0, Celtic 2.
I'll tell you, Paul, this is the first time I've seen Johnson in real life, if you know him, rather than watch him on the television. He's been very impressive as well today.
Yeah, he gets himself into good positions, doesn't he? And
he's very athletic as well.
He's athletic, and he enjoys getting on the ball, that's for sure.
Here's Lil Abada, he's just moved himself into the area, quite happy to get forward. He's embraced the inverted fullback role quickly as he can to get forward. Stays forward as Celtic have it through Carter Vickers. Out onto this near side, onto Matt O'Reilly. O'Reilly up against Behic. O'Reilly holds on and plays the ball back onto Carter Vickers. A little square pass onto Carl Starfelt. Starfelt round the corner it goes. Taylor forced back towards the halfway line. Will play it back inside once more. And just rolls the ball back onto Callum McGregor. McGregor out wide onto Turnbull. Turnbull to Maida on that far side up against Freeman. Ball level with the penalty box. Dundee United 0, Celtic 2. Ball drops inside onto Carter Vickers. Back again. It goes on to Starfelt. Rory McLeod tries a little chase on that far side. Maida is there. He'll hook the ball back to the halfway line. Dundee United just trying to stay in the disciplined shape and trying to find a way to get the ball back as well. And at the moment, chasing shadows. The shadows are in green and white hoops as the ball comes out wide. There's Matt O'Reilly. O'Reilly. Little clip ball inside onto McGregor. McGregor onto Taylor. Maida's made a great little run into the area. Heads the ball into the middle. Ryan Edwards took an ace to get it away and then played it straight back to Matt O'Reilly, who got the volley away but wide. It was a real dangerous header down the middle. O'Reilly went first time, couldn't put it on target.
Yeah, waiting for that run, and that then the ability to play that ball over the top for Maeda. That time he just got his head on it, knocked into space. Matt O'Reilly, the ball was too high for him to get the proper volley on it, wasn't it? He's kind of almost flicked at it rather than getting good contact. But
it was an awkward one, wasn't it, to get on target, but it was a good attempt.
Arno Zoom picks up in the midfield for Dundee United against Behich. Back inside, on to Zoom. Zoom lays the ball back, forward by Scott McMahon. Carter Vickers gets the head flick on. McGregor ran into trouble with McGrath, but just emerges with the ball. He's off to Turnbull. Turnbull with the error. Picked up by Freeman, back inside onto McGrath. And it was Johnson who got the intercept and played the ball forward. Breaks off of Smith. Smith's given the ball away onto Leila Bada. Kyogo wants it played out wide to him, but he's going to clip it back inside. On the reverse, he's a chance for Matt O'Reilly. Good block. Scott McMahon turns the ball behind. It's a corner kick to Celtic again. Celtic making something over almost nothing to get forward quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for Freeman today. He's not had his best of days. I mean, he gave the ball away under no pressure there, and Celtic was swarming forward.
Celtic with a corner from this right-hand side. Matt O'Reilly has gone out to take it. Maida with a header straight at the goalkeeper, but Dundee United will be concerned at how easy he got that header away.
Yeah, he certainly would, and he got up and used those neck muscles to get in contact with the ball. Just was straight at the goalkeeper, but I'm going to almost say Callum McGregor is just dictating the game totally, and he's on the ball, he's playing in that role, and nobody can almost get near him, and it's just
this place finest season ever.
Beautiful to watch, he's had so many good seasons, but he's always on the move, looking for the ball. When he gets it, he plays off both feet, passes it well, and does that other better defensive work that you're expecting from that whole midfield player. But perfect occasion for him to get on and play 2-0 up, and he's doing it so well at the moment.
Yes,
his GPS, he's amazing, isn't it? You'd love to see his GPS output from it, because it's been quite. In fact, I'm surprised the GPS can keep up with him. I mean, he just almost outruns that easily. Ball out wide with O'Reilly. Celtic leading by 2-0. Dundee United held out in the first half, played really well. Celtic finding the breakthrough in the second. And the ball runs all the way through to Mark Berighetti. Celtic are going to make another change, Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, I thought Leo Abada's match was going to be over around 10 minutes ago. Well, it's going to be over very shortly, because he is going to be replaced. The player coming on is number 9, Sead Haksabanovic.
Thanks, Brian. So we will not see O coming on. I think that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, we'll count that up in a moment. As the ball comes out wide on that far side. That could just be 4. Celtic leading by 2. It's just 4 changes, so O may well still appear. Ball inside onto Carter. Sends the ball out wide. Here's the opportunity for Celtic to push again through Leila Abada. Abada plays the ball out wide. And just taking their time, Celtic, through Johnson. Yeah, I think there might be that other change as well, because they'd have to make it at this time. We'll get back down to Brian as Celtic have the ball.
A bit of Korean coming on.
It is, yep. Round the corner, it comes on to Johnson, inside his own half, over the halfway line it goes. Picked up though by Dundee United. Behich under pressure from Matt O'Reilly. He is going to get the free kick, so we are able to go back downstairs to Brian McLaughlin. There is the change. Is the second change coming, or is the Korean not going to take part?
The second change is going to happen. Hyunjin Ho is going to be coming on. The player he will be replacing is number 8, Kyogo Furuhashi, but yeah, it was actually at his media conference during the week. He speaks very little English. When I asked him if he was ready to start or play the weekend, the only 3 words I got was yes, absolutely so.
Not bad 3 words to pick up to start with.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. So always on. And will it be a touch of South Korean magic to round off the evening? Just more problems for Dundee United. The ball's been passed straight to him. He's got the opportunity to drive forward. Plays the ball out wide. Haksabanovic tries the shot, clips it high and up and over the crossbar. So the 2 substitutes are just on the field of play, getting right involved, and immediately took the touch, looked up, got the head up, spotted where the pass should be. Celtic comfortable now, just looking to wear out the rest of this game. 37 minutes on the clock in this second half. Coming up during the week, plenty of great action. You'll hear it all on Sports Sound. Celtic midweek at home against Livingston. They then go to St Johnstone. They've got the Scottish Cup 5th round tie at home to St Mirren, and then they'll play Aberdeen for Dundee United's midweek at Killie. And then they go to Hearts, the Scottish Cup at home against Killie, and then they are at home against St Johnstone. There's some matches coming up. Hearts Rangers will be a featured commentary on Wednesday night. As the ball gets played forward up towards the edge of the Celtic area. Just a little nudge there by McGrath. Play on, says the referee. Celtic have it and play the ball up only as far as Arnold Jim. 30 yards from goal on the left hand side. Dundee United trying to find a way to pressure Celtic on the score sheet as it's going to be a free kick. Dylan Levitt will get a yell. It's Jamie McGrath, 18, just clipping his man, who went to ground, and that is a yellow card, second of the afternoon. That just looked like tiredness, Craig.
Yeah, and they're a little bit disconsolate. I mean, the one thing though I would say, Pan, I hope you agree, that they haven't chucked it, Dundee United. No. They've kept at it. They haven't had very many opportunities today to go forward and to get shots at goal, but they've certainly worked extremely hard, and I think that's something that Liam will be quite happy about. I mean, in previous matches we have seen the Dundee United team fold a little bit, so this is definitely an improvement.
Absolutely, I was going to say that after the second goal. I was going to make that comment. Now is the time to test their mentality, because Celtic were on a high and they've stuck in there, they've defended. We haven't had much of the ball though, and they haven't been able. Celtic have dominated possession as
they always do.
Yeah, so but they're hanging in defensively, you've got to say.
Jim plays the ball back onto McMahon. McMahon moving it forward. Last 10 years, 20 Scottish Premiership meetings for these sides. Dundee United 5 points, Celtic 49. It's been the gap between the teams. Dundee United outscored by 55 goals to 11 coming into today. Now 57-11. It's going to be, as it stands at the moment, with just over 5 minutes to play, a 2-0 defeat for the home side. One or two more home fans heading for the exits. As the ball gets played forward, can't get on to the end of it, and it runs all the way through to Mark Beneghetti. Bowls the ball out onto Scott McMahon, and back once more inside his area. He sends it long over the halfway line. Pollitt can't get there. Carter Vickers came over the top and now comes through onto Pollitt, but he's robbed by McGregor. Played out wide. Maida gets the ball on the inside. Turnbull trying to get there, and Arnold June did well. Stretched out the leg, plays it out wide into that far side. Freeman wins a throw for his side. It goes out of play. Dundee United will have it on that far side. Dundee United coming in today 5 points worse off than at the same stage last season, and they were 7th in the Scottish Premiership with 25 points. Celtic today 10 points better off at the start of the day than they were at the same stage last season, and they will be stretching their lead at the top of the table back to 9 points.
Yeah, I think that's the objective for Celtic at the moment, isn't it? To one, just tick every game off now, get the 3 points, don't drop anything, and get themselves into a position where they can see that finishing line. I know there's a long way to go yet, but you've got to take every game seriously.
Toom rode 2 challenges, plays the ball back to McGrath, but Celtic have players back again, but Toom goes in. Good strength, plays the ball out onto Behic. Behic has a look. McMahon was on the overlap, but he'll play it inside onto Doom. Centre circle, takes the touch as Smith gets it away from Myra just and no more. Plays it out wide, halfway line, right hand side. Dundee United. Well, Freeman does a little touch and turn. He goes to ground. He slipped against Maida. He's still kept the ball in on that far side. Played a decent ball down the line towards Peter Pollock. Greg Taylor got the touch, knocked it out of play. And Dundee United, to their credit, just keep on going. Ball back towards the halfway line. No way through for Liam Smith. 27th start of the season for him. Inside onto Arnold Zoom. Time ticking away. 3 minutes plus to be played here as Beich takes the touch inside his own half, lays the ball back to Ryan Edwards. Edwards through to the centre circle. Arnold Zoom clips the ball out of play on that far side. He just has a little word with Beich, just overhead at Celtic. Not quite sure if they took the throw properly, certainly from the wrong place, and the referee
a foul throw.
Yeah, foul throw. He's overturned it.
Yeah.
It looked sloppy, didn't it, as the ball came in, but you see it called so rarely now.
I know, I mean, you see quite a lot of foul throws, but very rarely are they given.
Ball comes back on the Dundee United side. And Celtic with their victory. Ange Postecoglou will go on to 50 Scottish Premiership wins. And he will have done it in 61 matches, which matches Brendan Rodgers. Oh, tries to get away and then commits the foul. Scott McMahon looks far from pleased about being put on his backside by the South Korean, but the flag came up from David Rim. There's the opportunity for Jamie McGrath. Inside onto Arnold Zoom. Outside his own area was Ryan Edwards. He plays it forward, gets it into Sibbald. Back to McGrath. McLeod, lovely little ball out to this near side, onto Beich. Beich looking to come forward. Waiting to see what he's got inside the box before letting it go inside the area. Might break for McGrath. McGrath takes the touch. He's inside the area going for the byline. Pulls the ball back to Beich. Beich gets the ball in. Joe Hart was struggling there. That might break for Freeman to complete his miserable afternoon. Completely mishits it across the area. And then McGrath gives away the free kick. Felt his left side, wanted it on his right. Not a great finish.
No, that's a difficult cross to come for when it's bending away with the wind almost in your back. It's taking you away further. He did well, actually, even to get a touch on the ball, Joe. But he committed himself, and I'm glad to see him coming for crosses, because I like a goalkeeper that comes for crosses.
I remember you used to catch the ball with one hand. Years
that
and
was
years
Pat
ago.
Jennings.
Oh, was it Pat? Was that Pat Jennings?
Pat Jennings.
I'm sure I saw you do that.
Something old Pats do as goalkeepers. Celtic looking to get the ball away through Joe Hart. Voice of the Pat Bonner, Craig Levine here on BBC Radio Scotland. Brian McLaughlin pitch side this afternoon. I'm Paul Mitchell, Richard Gordon keeping us under control. That's the from Joe Hart. He'll send the ball forward. Dundee United 0, Celtic 2 inside the final 60 seconds of regulation. Long from Joe Hart, and I mean long, it's all the way out. It's going to be a goal kick.
I think that it must be quite windy down on the field. I mean, it certainly feels it up here, but the ball has reacted quite strangely at times, and when it's been in the air.
Yeah, I think it's as windy as now as it has been at any point in the game. Flags blowing in slightly different directions depending on where you're looking. That's Freeman, tries to head the ball forward onto Sibbald. Sibbald up against David Turnbull, drops down onto Freeman. Over the halfway line, Peter Pollock tries to keep it in, can't do so. And the ball is out of play.
And on that note, I would give maybe Mark Berigidi a little bit benefit of the doubt for the first goal. Maybe the wind has sort of almost taken it into an area over his head that it wouldn't do normally. But it was a big goal and a big moment in the game.
Yeah, on another day he might have got lucky and the player would have headed it past the post, but he got there perfectly to head it in. It was Jota, and then 5 minutes later Aaron Moy from the penalty spot after Kieran Freeman clearly handball. Another 5 minutes to be played here. A minimum of 5 minutes. Jamie McGrath has the ball outside the Celtic area, pulls it back. Scott McMahon headed away first time. And Maida will be on the end of that from McGregor. Always made the run across on his right hand side. Still Maida, still going inside the area, takes the touch, tries to drag it back. He holds off Liam Smith, almost invited him to take him down, and Smith did well not to fall for that one. The ball is out of play on that far side. Rory McLeod going in there. He just seemed to stretch his body and
he was almost in the splits at one point there.
It's like a judo move, isn't it?
And he still protected the ball.
There's no way Smith was getting through there. Celtic leading by 2-0. Would a third goal be harsh on Dundee United? Askabanovic plays the ball back inside onto Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers plays it onto this near side again, onto Johnson. He's starting to hear the wind across that effects, Mike, so it really is picking up out there. Askabanovic And the gloves in the base layer, plays the ball back onto McGregor. McGregor onto Starfelt. Starfelt onto Maida, played it first time into the area. Smith got the ball away. Pollock chases after it, so too does Rory McLeod. McLeod picks up, but there were 5 Celtic players closer to him than anything else, so he takes the touch, plays it back, and now it's Lawrence Long. He tries to get in front of Carter Vickers along with Pollock, but the flag was up, just ran in from an offside position. And Carter Vickers just has a little word with Callum McGregor.
But do you think that both managers will be kind of happy with this? I mean, I know...
Yeah, Celtic will be delighted with it.
Yeah, I know Dundee United got beat. Yeah, at the same time, there's enough here for Liam to be...
Yeah, I think from a defensive perspective,
from a defensive point of view.
But I think you would be...
And the attitude point of view, that's the second part.
Yeah, a bit disappointed probably he hasn't really been able to test Joe Hart in this game, especially at home. You're the home team. But they certainly had a good organisation, defended well up against a Celtic team who, again, were very, very good on the day.
Yeah, they were.
You know, lots of possession, moved the ball well.
Well, Celtic dropped 4 points against Dundee United last season, only dropped more points against Rangers and Livingston, so they have been tricky for them. As the ball comes in by Celtic up to the edge of the area, the wind does pick up once more. O tries to make the break into the box alongside O'Reilly. Tries to gather, takes a touch, faces up against Smith, trying to go for the byline. Smith defends him well, pushes it away. Maida will get ready to take the throw in on that far side. 2 minutes of the 5 remaining. Maida back to Taylor by the corner flag, left hand side. Freeman pulls the ball back, can't get the touch that he wanted, and Celtic gathering again. Will go back to Carter Vickers, who was almost off balance, but he did well to recover. He beats 2 and then turns. Saw Arnold June looming into view and thought, no, I might have just overplayed it, so he turns and plays the ball back. Now down the side for Celtic. Behich drops it down. It's going to be an awkward one for McMahon to take, but he does really well. Plays it inside onto Edwards. Edwards moves away. It's good play from Dundee United. Now Kieran Freeman trying to make something happen on the far side. 22-year-old Aberdonian, 50th appearance for Dundee United, will end in defeat. And he's had his ups and downs in this game, to be fair. And now the ball gets thrown in as knocked out by Celtic. Tune back onto Freeman. Tries to get it back inside. Celtic gather through McGregor. McGregor drops the ball down. Tannadice has a little look on his run. Wanted it from O'Reilly. Doesn't come his way though. O'Reilly played it inside. And now McLeod tries to get the ball forward. Almost got it inside Carl Starfelt, looking for Peter Pollock. Ambitious pass, couldn't quite get it there. Celtic do enough to repel once more. Celtic are going to leave Tannadice with all 3 points, something they're well used to. And Dundee United have won 4 of the last 8 home games. They've been doing pretty well here. They're going to remain as a quartet of teams in the Scottish Premiership on 20 points. Here's Matt O'Reilly on the right hand side. Final minute of the game. Skivanovic back on to O'Reilly. O'Reilly inside onto Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers plays the ball across onto that far side. This is going to be Celtic's 13th clean sheet against Dundee United in the last 19 games. Really hard to score on. There's the opportunity now for Celtic just to keep the ball at the back. Dundee United pressing inside the Celtic half. It's not going to matter now, given the time on the watch, but they have not given up. O'Reilly against June. Ball breaks onto Behich. Behich stretching there, comes off O. Askubanovic has it. Turnbull in front of him. He's inside his own half, opposition half. Plays it forward out wide. Here is O. Opportunity to swing the ball. It's a decent one. Maida heads it over the top from about 3 yards out. As the full-time whistle goes, that would have been the exclamation mark. There's a Maida, can't quite believe he didn't put it on target. But Celtic leave Tannadice with all 3 points. That was the mission statement and plan, and that's what they've done. Jota after 51 minutes from a narrow angle from across from Moy, and Aaron Moy from the penalty spot after 56 minutes after Freeman handled in the area. Dundee United 0, Celtic 2.
Football from Sport.